Hi, you're watching Kira D, and today we have the hobby as well. Today we'll be talking about our personal finances. If you have ever wanted to consider what is the best way for a married couple to deal with their finances, this might be the video for you. We have been married for 15 years and together for more than 20. And so within that time, I think we've learned a few lessons, and so we want to share how we manage our finances, some of the things that we've learned, and why we do what we do. So if you are interested in that, keep watching.
So we got married in 2006, and before that we always had a mindset of how we were going to work together as a team. It was always about teamwork. And so when it came to our finances, from a very early stage, we started to develop the mentality of pooling our resources together, of coming together as a unit to accomplish whatever it is that we wanted to accomplish.
As a matter of fact, I think that mindset started even before we got married. So while we did not necessarily pool all of our finances, we understood the power of joint resources.
Correct.
So we happened to be in college together, and so what we would do is we would grocery shop together, because we found that if you grocery shop for the month or the 2 weeks or whatever, and we pool our resources together, then it made things cheaper and easier. So I think we learned early the power of joining resources, even before marriage. And then once we got married, we just took that into marriage on a greater scale, like an all-in scale. And over the years, I think we have found that finances can be a really, really big issue when it comes to couples.
I think when it comes to marriage, finances play a huge role in the success of your marriage.
Yep.
Not necessarily having a lot of money, but how you as a couple handle money together, because money is such an important thing to our individual lives, that if we can handle it collectively, if we can manage it well collectively, then I think that it adds great value to our relationship as a whole. So being able to manage your money collectively adds value to your relationship.
Right. So I think what we've hinted to already is the fact that we pool our resources, not just in theory, but in actuality.
Yeah,
we pool all of our finances. So it's not his money or my money, it's our money.
From
all
day one,
money.
from
Yes.
day one.
All money is our money. And so that's exactly how we manage our finances. His paycheck, my paycheck, all of it is our finances.
And I know like a lot of couples choose a different route. There are a lot of couples that choose to have individual ways of dealing with their particular finances, where a couple, each individual manages their own personal finances when they get paid versus pooling it. There are cases where they have negotiations where one person takes care of all the bills and the other person gets to keep all of their money. But we as a couple, we have chosen to pool our resources. We've chosen to put things together because we do believe that when we do that, it makes the world of a difference when it comes to what we can achieve and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we're kind of jumping the gun in terms of listing some of the major reasons why we choose to pool all of our resources and consider it to be one big financial paycheck, one big pool of money. So one of the biggest reasons why we do that is the us versus you or me mindset. I think once we have that us and our mindset, it completely changes everything. And I think a lot of times when persons have completely separate finances, okay, it's my money, what I do with my money is my business. If you want me to pay a bill, I'll do that. And you can pay X, Y, and Z bill. And so that's as far as the interaction goes. I know what my responsibilities are, you know what your responsibilities are. I feel that when you pool your resources together, it's easier to create an hour mindset. So it's not you have the electricity bill to pay, it's we have the bill to pay. It's not you have to pay for the school fee, it's we have to pay for the school fee. And it naturally lends itself to that hour and we mindset where we're in this together.
Correct.
Another one of the big reasons that we tend to pool all our resources together is the power of two. And we alluded to it when we discovered that as we were purchasing groceries together in college. It is so much easier to accomplish great things if our resources are pooled together. It's harder if I'm trying to do something on my own or he's trying to do something on our own. But if we're pooling those resources, it makes things so much easier. Some of the things that we've been able to do, a lot of the things that we've been able to accomplish was only because we fully pooled all our resources and targeted this one thing together. What I also love about combining our resources fully is that it forces us to be really open with each other in terms of our finances. If we are like pooling the tasks, pooling the bills, pooling everything, then we have to talk about it. We have to talk about how much do we have. We have to talk about what the bills look like. We have to talk about how we're going to achieve this particular goal. Like we have to be open about it.
Literally everything. And because as well we budget together. So everything is laid out on the table, so to speak. So I know everything about our spending habits. She knows everything about my spending habits. And there is literally nothing that we hide from each other when it comes to our finances. Many marriages break up because of the fact that there is so much squabble over what is done with the money, right? How the money is managed, how the money is handled. And that creates an atmosphere and environment for conflict and arguments to ensue in a relationship. With us, there is less of that because of the fact that we are not curious as to where this money is going. We know where our money is going, right? We're the ones who sent it there. We put it together there, and therefore she doesn't have to worry about what I'm doing, who I'm spending my money on, or anything like that, right? Every single red cent that we make goes together in terms of how we are going to be spending.
And I think that openness and like having to have conversations about our finances, where it's going, where it needs to go, it kind of adds another benefit of increasing transparency and trust, so that there isn't that sense of insecurity, because everything is out in the open, everything is plain, and so we can trust each other.
Right, so that would be another advantage of pooling your resources, that creating that level of transparency, creating that level of trust between each other. We have nothing to hide from each other, and I think that adds really great value to our relationship.
Yeah.
One
less thing to question and ask questions about. And like I said, I think that's one of the biggest things that you need in a marriage, and to help a marriage work, you need trust, you need transparency, and the same goes for your finances as well. I think that pooling our resources the way that we do as well helps you to own everything. When I say own everything, I'm talking about the triumphs as well as the challenges. And I think a lot of times when you have a separate way of dealing with your finances, where like you handle your stuff, I handle mine. If it is that, let's say for example, I have to pay, my responsibility is the electricity bill. It came a lot higher than I expected, and now like I'm in a financial crunch. I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna pay this bill. Then that's my stress and my burden to bear, because that's my responsibility. Versus if it's our job to pay the bill, it's both of us, then we share whatever challenges come. Well,
case in point would probably be our student loan debt, because we would have come into marriage with student loan debt, both of us. Of course, one being higher than the other. But when we came together, it wasn't a case of this is how much debt you were in and this is how much student loan debt you had, I had. It was simply, this is the amount of debt we have, period. And so we would have over the years worked on paying off our student loan debts collectively. So much so that we have no idea how much either of us owed at any point in time particularly. It was just one big lump sum in our budget that we worked on exterminating right over the years.
Yeah, so I mean, initially when you're trying to put them together, you like you know what the figure is, but you spend time over years just seeing like this bulk of money is our debt, and when you own that together, it just makes the burden so much easier to bear. And on the flip side, the triumphs that we have are also shared. You know, like the things that we're able to accomplish together. I mean, we've been able to do great things as a couple, and I think just being able to celebrate and own that together versus, you know, I was the one who did this, you know, what have you contributed? It like, you know, it can really just make things a lot more meaningful when we're just sharing this together.
Yeah, it's our home. You know, it's our trip. You know, it's our bank account. It's our project.
Yeah.
You know, it's our investment. It's ours, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to celebrate that reality. To be able to celebrate the fact that we did it together. It eliminates, I think, a lot of the self out of the relationship again, which helps to deal with some of the conflicts that a couple might have, knowing that the home that they built, the achievements that they have had were due to the collective process that both of them would have gone through, the sacrifices both persons would have made towards a collective goal, towards a collective effort. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. So it's not like my wife is over here watching me succeeding at life, you know, while she's dying away over there. You know, we both put into whatever it is that we would have achieved, whatever it is that we would have accomplished over time.
Right. Another great thing about completely pooling our resources and considering it one is that it forces us to be on the same page in terms of where we want to go. So let's say, for example, we have a limited amount of finances. We are considering either a renovation or maybe going on a trip. We have to be on the same page. You can't be like, okay, well, fine, you take your money and do renovations, I will go on a trip. Like, no, we have to be on the same page.
And we can't argue about it because we know that we can't afford to do this and to do that at the same time. And therefore, we have to, you know, prioritize. Right. So our vision is aligned. And because our vision is aligned, and not only just aligned in words but on paper, you know, we can collectively aim towards striving to achieve that.
Right. And I think not only are our visions together, but our values, like it helps us to align our values as well. So if we are right now valuing, let's say, paying off debt as opposed to savings,
taking a vacation,
or purchasing new things, like we have to decide together what values are we prioritizing, and we have to be in sync with that. So it gives us less to argue about, because once we've had that discussion where we weigh the pros and cons and, you know, we talk about who wants what and why, we're on the same page, we're going forward, and we don't have to fuss about it, we don't have to fight about it after that, because like we are in sync.
Right. So one of the other benefits that we have to pooling our resources, it helps keep each other from overspending. All right. Usually when we have, you know, our separate lives, and we have our separate lives financially, we tend to be a little bit more easy with the pockets.
Right. Free or without or spending.
Right. But knowing that, you know, you're accountable to somebody else, I think helps a whole lot. And you can't just spend the money because it's not my money.
Right.
It is our money. It takes the selfishness out of it. And again, it gives each other that system of accountability.
Right. Checks and balances.
Checks and balances, especially where our vision and our goal is concerned. So it's not like, okay, I just want this and I have to go and get this for myself, so I'm going to take my money, I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do. No, the fact of the matter is we have goals, right? We have hashtag goals, right? We have things that we're striving towards accomplishing as a couple. And because of that, again, the checks and balances are in place because our resources are pooled. And, you know, we have to then go to each other and ask each other questions. Is this something that we can do? Is it in our budget that we're able to afford for me to be able to do this? You know, is this something that then we need to budget to take into account? Right? So I'm not just going to go and spend this amount of money or overspend on something without taking into consideration, yes, what my spouse thinks about it. And it's such a beautiful thing, again, because it adds back to the value of what we were talking about earlier, the whole idea of transparency, of open communication, and that sort of thing. It helps build that process.
Now, this might make some of you nervous, but I don't want you to think it's a case where like every single dollar that you spend, you have to be like, okay, if I want to buy a cup of ice cream, then I have to be like, can I? Like, no, all that you factor into the budget. So you make allowances for personal spending and all of that in the budget, but it's discussion that we have in terms of even like how much are we going to allot to that, because we have a general goal in mind in terms of, you know, what we want to accomplish and where we want our finances to go. And that also brings me to actually seeing what you have as a couple. Your net worth, your value, what do you actually own, your assets, your liabilities. It's way easier to really take stock of that when you merge everything together.
Yeah, I think really and truly a lot of couples don't know where they are financially, just period. And that's because they have no real sense of what they own, what they have, what they contribute collectively as a couple. They may know what they particularly work for, you know, what they earn, but they don't know the power of their collective, you know, financial life.
Right.
And there is so much more that can be done when persons merge things together, not just in a physical way, but in a psychological way.
Yeah.
Right, the benefits of coming together collectively. And I do believe that it's so important, again, that we do know our net worth. We do merge things together because as again, the Bible says that, you know, where your money is, your heart is there as well. And I think for a lot of couples, there's a lot of struggle because their money isn't in their relationship. Their money is in themselves.
Right.
And so they don't really have a heart for their relationship, they have a heart for themselves. So there's a lot of selfishness that takes place in the context of that relationship because their money isn't exposed. That's one aspect of their relationship that isn't open to each other. It's not something that is shared. And money, which is something we spend a lot of our time working for, we put a lot of sweat and blood in for, if that isn't shared, then I think a great part of your relationship is missing if it is that you cannot openly share that part of yourself with your spouse, especially if it is that you have goals. Like you're not both swimming in wealth, you know, swimming in riches. I mean, if you're swimming in riches, I think that it may be fine for you to have, you know, some sense of, well, I can do this, you can do that, you're just wealthy. Right? There's
so
nothing to think about.
It's almost as if the money doesn't matter.
Money doesn't matter.
Right.
It is not an object. Fine. But then for the couple, the middle income couple, the low income couple that is striving towards achieving something, you cannot do that on your own. I
want to add some context to that though. I'm not saying, or we're not saying, that there aren't persons who somehow are able to have just completely separate resources and make a marriage work and make their financial situation work. There are persons who are able to do that. It does add some complexities to the relationship, where it might have been easier if persons just come together, pool their resources, and move together as one.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that.
Yeah. I do believe that sometimes it can work. Again, it can work.
Right.
Like most things can work. It's just going to take a little bit more work.
Okay.
Yes, because when two persons are on the same page, which is what we were talking about earlier, it is just easier to get things going. You know, how can two walk together lest they agree? So if it is that we're trying to accomplish something, we have a vision for something, it is that much easier to accomplish that if we can be on the same page. And being on the same page is not just having the same idea as to how we're going to get there, but again, being able to put all resources together collectively in terms of getting there.
So we're not saying that pooling your resources is without any challenge whatsoever.
Oh yeah, there are challenges.
There are challenges, especially in the beginning phases. So thank you guys for watching. If it is that you want to ask any questions, add to the discussion, share your opinion, feel free to do that in the comment section. We thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next leg of the journey.